Hello, my friend. On today's episode, I am back with fellow Business Unicorns coach Ben, and we are talking about a recent email marketing campaign that Ben ran at his gym with great success. So if you're looking for your next high performing email campaign to generate leads and bring you more revenue, look no further, my friend. We're going to give you every step that Ben took in running this campaign on today's episode. So keep on listening. Hello, fitness business nerds. What's up? Welcome to another episode of the Business Unicorns podcast. Before we jump into today's episode, I want to let you know that Mark recently wrote a new book. It's a little book of gym marketing secrets. And honestly, it's the book you're going to wish you had when you started marketing your gym early on when you first started. So if you haven't gotten it yet, click the link below in the show notes and get a completely free digital copy. Also, it's a quick read too. It's maybe like an hour of material. The description of the book, it's really less like comprehensive, no fluff guide, right? It's really everything you need and nothing you don't. So right away within an hour, you're going to have tactical things you can do to better market your gym. So go grab it. Link in the show notes. It's free. Which brings me to today's episode with Mr. Ben Pickard. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Good. We're recording this like right in the thick of the holiday season. We just got past the U.S. Thanksgiving, or your Thanksgiving's already a month behind you up in Canada. So how are you feeling this holiday season so far?
I'm feeling great. I'm pretty committed to taking some time off during the holidays, which was a thing I did not do the first few years of gym ownership. And yeah, I'm like, I don't know. I like the work that I do and it fulfills me. And I'm excited to just like spend some fuck my computer time and hang it out with my family.
Yes. Yeah.
That's it. How about you?
Yeah, that really resonates with me so hard because I think we're both in the same place. We really love the work we're doing. I don't not look forward to work. I do look forward to work. And the thing I don't look forward to is sitting in this chair staring at a screen for many, many hours of the day. So that's the thing I really want to break from, right? Like I wish we could do this work some other way. And maybe someday if Mark Zuckerberg gets his way, we'll all be wearing goggles, walking around and interacting with each other in virtual space. I don't think so, but who knows? Maybe. But yeah, I'm also going to take a little time off. I'm doing a little road trip. My in-laws are down in Tennessee, so we're going to drive down there, and I'm really excited. It's going to be a nice little road trip.
That's a Christmas road trip is always fun.
Christmas road trip. Why not? I'm also going to go to Dollywood, which if anyone listens to this podcast for a while, you probably know I'm a fan of Dolly Parton. So I get to go to the Dolly Parton temple, as it were, which is an amusement park. Well, let's dive into today's topic. You had an amazing email marketing win recently. It was specifically for Black Friday, but I want you to walk our listeners through what exactly was this email campaign that generated so many sales for you, so that they can do it and steal it. It doesn't have to be for Black Friday. I think this email campaign that Ben's going to explain to all of you, you can use it anytime, maybe another holiday. I know in Canada, you all have what coming up, Boxing Day, or something like that. Yeah.
You guys do Boxing Day in the States?
We don't do Boxing Day. No, I think because our Thanksgiving is so late. I mean, there might be some people who are not from the U.S. who celebrate Boxing Day, but it's not really a thing for us. But either way, whether you have a holiday coming up or you're listening to this podcast at some other time, this email marketing play can get you sales, and Ben's going to walk you through exactly how to do it. So, Ben, take us from big picture down. So what's the big picture of this campaign? Who's it for? What's the offer?
Yeah. So the big picture of this campaign was Black Friday, but as Michael said, you could use this for January. You could use this for literally whatever. And the broad strokes are, previously I had been like, well, I don't want to push sell too hard on my email list or sell too hard with my clients. And I was nervous about that piece. And we were like, screw it. We're going to market hard, but we're only going to do it for 5 days. And you could do this as like a Wednesday till Tuesday or Thursday to Monday kind of thing. We decided to do a Monday through Thursday because we didn't want to be answering messages over the weekend. It was our main motivator. So the broad strokes are that we segment our list. We have it as current members, former members, prospects, which is the like never been members kind of things. We don't segment to people who did a trial and didn't continue and did, or didn't continue and did continue, but you could either way. The main 3 segments are the goal here. And each segment got dedicated messaging with a dedicated offer. So we essentially ran 3 offers, 1 to each segment, all at the same time. which sounds
Great.
complicated when you say it out loud, but it's actually not that much because the email copy is almost the same. It's just a different offer.
Yeah, I think people also, this I think is just a good takeaway for people in general. People get afraid of sending too many emails, but the reality is you can get away with sending a lot more emails when you divide up your list, right? This way, you can send a bunch of emails to specific people about a specific offer that other people are just not seeing at all, right? And so I think in this way you can get more bang for your buck. So I think it's really smart.
Thank you. So the three offers were for current members, where you're doing for $3, you can upgrade your membership for 3 weeks. So that means if you're currently once a week, you get twice a week for $1 a week. Twice a week gets $1 a week, gets 3 times a week. Super simple, not meant to be a moneymaker. The moneymaker is on the tail end of this, that almost across the board, most of our clients are twice a week. Across the board, when they come 3 times a week, they're like, man, I feel awesome. We're like, yeah, you should keep doing this. So it's meant to be an upsell. And we also just introduced an unlimited package that we're framing as 3+. So for us, this was getting people to come more. And our unlimited is only like 15 or $20 a week more than our twice a week. If you're listening to the podcast from a few months ago that Pete and I did, it was inspired by that. And I ran Pete's play. The offer to previous members was 3 weeks of training for $3. Now, $3 is a very low bar. I have never run an offer that low. So there was 2 goals for this. One was, let's get some signups, obviously.
Sure.
But the second one is kind of like test the market to see like how that would work. Our trial is 3 weeks for $200. So $3 is a very low barrier. And obviously the risk is that you're going to get a lot of tire kickers, but we're okay sending this to former members because we already have some degree of like, know, and trust. So I'm like, this is a relatively low risk segment to try this out with. And if it blows up in our face, we just like won't do this again. And that's a worthwhile experiment to run.
Yep.
And then for the new leads, it was a little bit of a higher barrier. It was 3 weeks free on a 3-month membership. And we did run this email campaign in conjunction with paid ads for it as well. So that boosted those numbers a little bit. But I am aware that even though the price is pretty good, it's still a commitment barrier, but we have been burned before by having too cheap of a trial. And then a bunch of people come to the trial and our conversion suffers.
Yeah,
so
that makes sense.
Current
You want
members,
to recap those again? Yeah, go ahead.
Upgrade. Previous members, basically the same thing, but it's 3 weeks for $3. New leads, 3 weeks free on a 3-month membership.
Great. Yeah, I love it. And then talk a little bit about, you said the emails are often pretty similar, but obviously the difference here is what the actual offer is. So you can just talk a little bit, how did you tailor your message for each of those 3 audiences, aside from just making a different offer to them?
Yeah, of course. So we did I'm just looking at my notes here to make sure I get it right. Each segment got 3 to 4 emails over 5 days, or maybe 6 days. I think we sent the first ones out on like Sunday evening, and then we did Tuesday, Thursday, and the last call. So the way it was set up was like, hey, we want to give you a heads up about the Black Friday promotion. So it was still salesy, but not like you have to buy this now or bad things are going to happen to you, and build the problem a little bit. Here's the offer of what you can do. And all we're asking, we're not trying to sell over email. This is a really important point. It's not like buy this on email. The call to action is reply interested if you're interested in doing this. So it was simple. It's kind of like a sell by chat play where we're only trying to sell them on the next step. Because I don't think I'm a good enough copywriter to actually sell. So what I really want to sell is 12 months of training. I don't think I'm a good enough copywriter to sell 12 months of training at $500 a month on an email. So I'm trying to play to my strengths a little bit here.
Well, listen, I think, Ben, regardless of whether or not you're the world's greatest copywriter, I think it's just it's a smart move, right? That's what we're trying to do in sales, is move people just to a next step. And if you can just get someone to reply, if you can get someone to click a link, if you can get someone to, in the case of sell by chat, just answer you back, right? Then that is a next step. That is a kind of engagement that says, I'm still here. Let's keep talking. And so I think, I think it's a great lesson for all of us that if you come right out the gate asking for the moon, you might just leave empty-handed. But if you come out the gate asking for like, hey, is this interesting? You hit reply, right? Like maybe I will, right? It's such a lower ask. So I think it's a smart move.
Thank you. Yeah. Got that from the BFU playbooks. No surprise.
Yeah.
The second email was really simple, sent a couple days later. and it was just like, hey, name, just wanted to make sure you saw the offer below. You don't have to commit to anything right now. Reply and let me know. And it's set up as a forward. So the subject is FWD colon, and then the same subject line. We've got the hyphens after that. So from a copywriting perspective, it's really easy because I just copy and pasted it and added a few words at the top. And this is important because we track our open rates, and it's usually between like, I can't remember. I think it's like 30 to 50%. It's pretty good. But that still means even if it's 50%, and that's amazing, that means 1 out of 2 people didn't see that email. So sending another one isn't really going to hurt. Yes, it's probably mostly the same people who are opening the second email, but no one's going to be like, hey, I've got this awesome thing for you. Just want to make sure you didn't miss it. It's a great way to be salesy without being salesy.
Yeah, it's right on the borderline of black magic, right? It's like just on the edge of like, of being a little black magic-y, where I think it's totally reasonable to be like, hey, I want to make sure you saw this thing, I think is a reasonable way to use like a forward. I think that it makes sense. It's kind of logical.
Yeah. And it's fair. Like if somebody had a really great offer for something I was interested in, we can assume previous members are interested in this because they were at one point clients. Like it's not like I'm cold calling people here and doing sleazy stuff. I'd be happy if someone was like, hey, did you see that thing? I'm like, oh shit, thank you. I missed that. So I don't see it as like out of integrity by any stretch.
Yeah, I agree.
The third email is a 24-hour notice. And it's like, here's 24-hour notice. And as a reminder, here's the benefits you get. So a benefit-driven email. And then the last one is just straight up a last call. It's 4 sentences. This is last call. You've got 3 hours to do it. Reply to this email before that time if you want to take advantage of this.
Love it.
So I love it. I think it's such
I think it's such a great structure because I think that structure in of itself can apply to almost any email marketing campaign you do with a few tweaks, right? Just that idea of how those emails were structured, I think is a great framework for all of our listeners to use. So sorry, keep on going. What were you going to add to that?
Well, I just kind of at +1 and yes and what you said, like we used the same structure for all the campaigns. The member one I tweaked a little bit, made it a little more informal and casual because they're people who I've known for years in a lot of cases. But it was that here's the thing, in case you missed the thing, last call about the thing for 24 hours notice, last call about the thing. But the goal is we pushed it hard, obviously. They got an email every second day, and they got one Thursday morning and then Friday morning. And it all happened really condensed. I didn't actually look at our subscribes. I'm sure we got a few, but we got a good amount of traction on this, and I'm happy to share the numbers. But keep in mind, we're relatively small gym, so this is good numbers for our size.
Yeah. Well, remind people about the size of your gym, and then let's talk about the results.
Yeah, we're the equivalent of 2 full-time employees. It's 3 part-time coaches and a full-time GM. We've got 125 active members. We're in a city of 130,000 people with a very large wealth disparity, which is good and bad. So it's not like we're a 9-figure gym that added $500,000 in revenue. So numbers wise, and this is as of today, because we're still getting some stragglers in. We didn't say you have to give us money by Friday at noon. And again, we chose Friday at noon because that gives us the afternoon to do shit and not stress about it on the weekend.
Sure.
We had 13 members interested in the upgrade, and 100% of them upgraded. Again, it's $3, not a big ask.
Yep. Yeah.
Previous members, we had 7 people interested, 4 so far who have signed up. New leads, again, paid ad and email marketing, 5 consults, 4 signups so far out of that, so 80%. And then in addition to that, Leisha told me today when we met that we've got either 4 or 5 more consults booked for previous members and new leads. So that would put us at a total of 13 upgrades. Let's say 4 of those 5 sign up. That means we had 10 signups for the whole thing. And as a nice perk, a husband and wife came in and they paid in full for the whole 3 months for the 3 weeks 3 thing. So it also gave us a nice little cash injection, which I'm not crazy about paid in fulls. I like recurring revenue, but never hurts for someone to give you a bunch of money.
Yeah. Good for you, my friend. And that doesn't even count the fact that some of the folks who have upgraded now are going to continue that upgrade and pay real cash dollars for it in a few weeks. And so, and all those folks who are just on the returning folks who are on that trial are going to hopefully stick around and convert in a few weeks, right? So you have even more upside coming around the corner, which is so fantastic. And all of that came from a series of just like 4 or 5 emails to 3 different groups of people. Right. So this is like it's a lift, right? Writing those emails takes a little bit of time. But once you write a series of emails like that and just kind of repurpose them, it doesn't take that much time. And obviously you are going to do more follow up once they're there in person. So let's close out this just by talking about that for a little bit. So when those current folks are coming and upgrading to coming more, and when those past members are coming and kind of trying you back out again during this 3-week period, what do you all typically do in person to try and kind of fan the flames of that conversion?
Yeah, that's a great question. Yeah, we're very on top of that. Like the follow up is really the gold here. So for members, it's pretty straightforward. We're framing it as like no strings attached. Obviously, they don't have to upgrade, and we're not going to like
of course
walk them into anything. And it's not the Netflix flows with them, but it is making sure that there's a touch point, like either end of week 2 or beginning of week 3, that has actual coach feedback about specific positive things that have been going well since they've been coming more. They'd be like, hey, Michael, you seem to really love coming more. Justin mentioned that you had benefit. Just curious, would you be interested in continuing on 3 days a week? And it's, again, we're only selling the next step. They're saying, yes, I am interested in that, hopefully. And then not totally sure yet, but we're either going to offer them a discount on the upgrade that's not as ridiculous as $3 for the whole thing, or just move them into the upgrade. We're aware that, I don't want to get too into the weeds, but our jump from 1 to 2 is a big jump, but our jump from 2 to 3 is small. So if they're a once a weeker who wants to come twice, we'll probably discount it. But if they're a twice a weeker who wants to come 3 times, we just probably need to tell them, like, just so you know, it's only like $15 a week to come 50% more. That's a pretty good deal.
Yeah, I think that's amazing. That's amazing. Well, I think the thing that I hope our listeners take away from this, right, is that email marketing in this case is just gets people closer to you, right? In these cases, right, you're getting existing members to come a little bit more and spend more time with you. You're getting 4 members to come back and kind of try you back out again if they've been gone for a little while or a long while. And both of those people, when they come back in those doors, they start coming in those doors more. You need to wrap your arms around them. They need to feel different about that experience if they're going to stick around and continue coming more or coming back. I think that's really critical. Which says nothing of the fact that you have some brand new leads who've never been in the door before. And those folks, we always know, need lots of love and attention during their first few weeks. So like Ben illustrated here for all of you listeners, when you get people in the door, make sure you have a plan for keeping them in the door, which means scheduling some conversations with them in the first 2-3 weeks, depending on how long they're in for, to make sure you're highlighting all their wins, making them feel like they really belong, and really kind of indoctrinating them into your community, making them make friends. Like all that stuff really matters to making your gym kind of stickier and getting them to stay around longer. Yeah. Yeah. Anything else you would say about this campaign for folks who might give it a try?
Well, I will say it's kind of an experiment. Like there's some things about it that didn't work perfectly for us. We were hoping to get the 3 weeks for $3 people into just a regular membership with an even more compelling offer, and 0 of them took us up on that. So I think we made our offer a little bit good in that regard.
Yeah.
But like the real takeaways for me are, like, as I think we've said before many times on this podcast, like segment your list. And when I think about marketing, I think about what are each of those segments getting at any time. It's not just what am I putting out as an email. They don't always have to overlap. Obviously, for something like Black Friday or January or other major holidays, it makes sense to hit them all in the same week. But it's like we're running different offers at different times because we want to make sure that at any given point we've got some sort of offer out or about to be out in the next couple of weeks. So we don't have like a huge influx on week 1 of the quarter and then nothing for the other 12 weeks. I think the second lesson here is when you're going to sell. Most of our emails are content and their value. It's the jab of Gary V's jab, hook. But when you're going to sell, I don't think we had any complaints. I mean, the fact that 13 members took us up on an upgrade is like great, not a massive percentage. It's like 10%, but it's still like, only a few of those people need to continue for it to be measurable benefit to them and us. And the third point here is like, be willing to experiment with different offers. I don't know if $3 for 3 weeks is the right offer for you. It might not even be the right offer for us, But like marketing is a big experiment to see what sticks and what doesn't based on your avatar and your service offerings and all the other variables. And our motivation for this was like, we haven't done this, let's try it. If our conversion sucks, well, I'll get back on the podcast and talk about what we could do differently. But even Lisa's like, I expect at least 50% of these people to continue. And the coolest part is they got some people out of the woodwork. There's a client, Josh, who's been with us for 2 years. Lisa gave me a whole bunch of names. They were people, we do reactivation campaigns on a regular basis, like 3 times a year. Some of these people have been MIA for years. So having a really compelling offer to just get them back in conversation is huge. And we've even got some former members who like responded, but weren't even interested in the offer. They're like, can I just get back on what I was doing before? I'm like, yeah, I prefer you do that actually, rather than get 99% off. So segment your list. When you're going to sell. And when you're like, be willing to experiment. There is no magic sauce for this. It's just like, see what sticks and what doesn't and keep track of your results.
Yeah, I love those takeaways. I think that's such a great overview. And you're right. The next best offer someone should try is probably one you haven't tried yet. There's no like magical offer you're going to use over and over and over and over again forever, and it's going to keep working, right? You got to change it up. People like new. People like something fresh. And so good for you, Ben. I'm glad you all experimented. I'm glad it paid off. And maybe we'll do a little update in a few weeks once all these people have gone through and give a little update on how your numbers have gone. But thank you for sharing. I think it's a great example of a really solid email marketing campaign that gets people in your funnel, in the middle of your funnel, or your current members back engaged to buying more, staying longer. And so bravo to you and your team. That's amazing. Dear listeners, one last reminder, Mark put out a book. You should go get it. It's free. Link is down in the show notes, and it talks about things like email marketing, which we covered on today's podcast. So go get it, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye, Ben.
Bye.